Most people assume that staying positive is about waiting for life to be good, that once the circumstances shift, once the stress fades, once the money comes in or the wounds heal, then they'll finally feel positive. But that's a dangerous illusion. Positivity is not some emotion that floats in on the wind when life treats you kindly. It's not a natural outcome of comfort. It's a disciplined choice, a conscious commitment, a habit of the soul that has to be forged through struggle. You wake up in the morning and already your mind starts scanning for what's wrong. That's the default setting for most people, because the brain is wired for survival, not happiness. It's hunting for danger, for threats, for uncertainty. And if you let it run wild, it will anchor you in negativity before you've even stepped out of bed. That's why you must intervene. You must train yourself, moment by moment, to say, no, I will not hand over the direction of my day to whatever emotion stirs first. I choose how I see this. I choose how I respond. That's the point where growth begins, when you stop waiting to feel positive and start forcing yourself to act positive. Because action is far more powerful than mood. Your mood might say, I'm tired. Your mindset must answer, but I'm moving forward anyway. Your emotions might whisper, why bother? Your spirit must shout back, because I'm building something bigger than this moment. The world is full of people waiting for motivation, for energy, for a reason to smile. But what they don't understand is that positivity is the reason. It's the fuel. It's what turns a hard life into a heroic one. And it's not fake to force it. It's mature. It's what strength actually looks like. Do you think warriors feel like getting up every day and going into battle? No. But they rise, they armor up. They take one more step forward. Not because they feel good, but because they've decided who they want to be. You have to make that same decision every single day. When the past tries to define you, choose positivity. When fear creeps in, choose positivity. When people betray you, overlook you, misunderstand you, choose positivity. Not because you're blind, but because you've trained your mind to see deeper, to believe that there's something meaningful behind the pain, something being shaped in you that this world desperately needs. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending things are perfect. It means acknowledging the storm, but refusing to drown in it. It means saying, yes, this is hard, but I'm harder. It means carrying a light inside you so strong that even when everything outside of you is dark, that inner flame doesn't go out. And the most powerful part, the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Like a muscle, positivity grows through resistance. And one day you'll face a situation that would have broken the old you, and you'll smile. Not because it's easy, but because now you own your outlook. You've taken command of your spirit. So stop waiting. Stop hoping for positivity to arrive like some guest at your doorstep. You are the host. You must summon it, speak it, live it, even when you don't feel it. Especially when you don't feel it, because that's when it matters most. That's when it becomes real. And when you live like that, day after day, something incredible happens. The world may not change immediately, but you do. And that's where the revolution begins. Negative thoughts have a way of screaming at you when you're already at your weakest. They don't show up when you're full of clarity and momentum. No, they come when you're tired, when you're uncertain, when you've just been knocked down. And they don't whisper, they shout. They try to take over the narrative of your mind with fear, shame, and hopelessness. You hear them say things like, you're not good enough, you'll never change, this pain is permanent. And if you're not careful, you start believing them, not because they're true, but because they're loud. But volume doesn't equal truth. Just because a thought is persistent doesn't mean it's accurate. You don't have to accept every idea that passes through your mind. That's one of the greatest realizations a person can have. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You get to decide which ones stay and which ones go. And the thoughts that try to tear you down, the ones soaked in self-hatred and fear, They're not divine revelations. They're often the residue of old wounds, buried insecurities, generational trauma, or the influence of a broken world. You have to learn how to challenge those thoughts. You don't argue with them like they're a friend. You confront them like they're a thief trying to rob your peace. Ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Is it rooted in truth or just in emotion? Does it align with who I want to become? Or is it trying to drag me back to who I used to be? Most negative thoughts dissolve when exposed to truth and reason. They thrive only in passivity. The moment you actively confront them, they lose their grip. And here's the deeper issue. If you never confront those thoughts, they will quietly become your beliefs. And once something becomes a belief, it starts shaping your identity. That's how people get trapped in cycles of self-sabotage. They've internalized a lie as truth. So when you hear that voice say, you always mess things up, you must counter it immediately. No, I've failed. Yes. But that doesn't mean I always will. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm evolving. When your mind says you're not worthy, you must stand up in the Spirit and say, I am created with purpose. I am not my past. I am here for a reason. This isn't about pretending that everything is fine. It's about declaring that you are not going to surrender to a mindset that was never meant to lead you. You must become your own protector. Guarding your mental environment the same way you'd guard your home. You wouldn't let a poisonous snake crawl into your bed and just lay there. So why let toxic thoughts live rent-free in your mind? One of the strongest things you can do is speak truth out loud in the face of inner chaos, not because it instantly fixes everything, but because it reclaims your authority. And over time, as you keep speaking against the lies, they grow quieter. The voice of fear gets smaller, the voice of truth gets stronger. And eventually you stop being ruled by what you feel, and you start being guided by what you know. So the next time those thoughts come, the loud, destructive ones, don't cower, don't comply, confront them with everything in you. Call them out for what they are, intruders. Because once you realize that negative thoughts may be loud, but they're not the truth, you stop living in reaction and start living in purpose. And that shift, that's the beginning of real freedom. What you focus on will multiply. That's not just a motivational phrase, it's a psychological and spiritual reality. Your attention is one of the most powerful forces you have. It acts like a magnifying glass. Whatever you direct it toward begins to grow, not necessarily because it's objectively growing, but because your perception gives it weight, detail, and influence. That's why when you focus on pain, everything starts to hurt. When you focus on fear, every step becomes a threat. When you fixate on failure, you see no path forward. Just reminders of why you're not enough. But the inverse is just as true. If you discipline your mind to focus on growth, even in the face of chaos, then strength starts to rise. New opportunities start to reveal themselves. A sense of meaning begins to emerge where confusion used to live. The difference isn't always in the world around you, it's in the lens you've chosen to look through. Life is going to throw plenty at you. Loss, disappointment, betrayal, uncertainty, none of us are exempt. And you'll always have a choice in how you respond. You can dwell on the injustice, you can loop the failure in your mind until it becomes a narrative, or you can stop and say, what can I learn here? What part of me is being tested, refined, stretched? What part of my character is being invited to grow stronger right now? That shift is everything. It's not naive, it's not toxic positivity, it's spiritual maturity. It's recognizing that your focus either feeds your weakness or fuels your transformation. You can feed your fear or you can feed your faith, but you can't do both at once. You get to decide where your energy goes. And here's the thing, focusing on growth doesn't mean denying pain, it means using the pain. It means stepping back from the chaos and asking a better question. Instead of why me, try what is this building in me? Instead of how do I get out of this, ask who am I becoming through this? Those questions don't just shift your mindset, they shift your entire direction. They turn hardship into fuel. And this is where it becomes practical. If you want to grow, then you have to take inventory of what you're feeding your mind daily. What are you reading? Who are you listening to? What are you telling yourself when no one else is around? Growth doesn't happen by accident. You have to plant it, water it, and protect it. You have to make a decision every single day that no matter what comes against you, you will respond like someone who is becoming more, not collapsing into less. You might not be able to control what happens to you, but you can absolutely control what you focus on. And where your focus goes, your life will follow. So if you want more strength, focus on building it. If you want more peace, focus on feeding it. If you want to rise, then stop staring at what keeps you down and fix your gaze on what calls you higher. That's the secret to lasting transformation, not motivation, not emotion. Focus. Quiet, consistent, disciplined focus on growth. That's what shapes a life worth living. And the moment you commit to that, not for a day, but as a way of life, you begin to multiply what truly matters. And that's when your future starts to look radically different from your past. There are going to be days when the weight is too much, when the air feels heavy and your heart sinks without explanation. On those days, positivity won't come naturally. It won't show up in your thoughts and it won't show up in your emotions. And that's exactly why you have to speak it into existence, not because it's easy, but because if you don't, the negativity will fill the silence. Words have power, tremendous power. They shape the atmosphere around you and the beliefs within you. What you say repeatedly becomes what you start to believe, and what you believe dictates how you behave, how you show up, and who you ultimately become. Most people don't realize that their words are either reinforcing their suffering or lifting them out of it. Every time you say, "I'm stuck," you reinforce your chains. Every time you say, "I'll never be good enough," you invite that belief deeper into your identity. But when you speak words of growth, of faith, of possibility, even when they feel like lies, you plant seeds that your future self will harvest. You don't wait to speak positivity until you feel strong. You speak it so you can become strong. It's an act of leadership over your own life, a declaration of intention. And it often starts awkwardly. You'll feel foolish saying things like, "I'm healing," or "I'm getting better," or "I'm built for this," when everything in your circumstances says otherwise. But those declarations aren't about the present. They're about your direction. They're reminders of where you're headed, not where you've been. This is where many people get stuck. They think they're being realistic by only speaking what they feel. But feelings are not the whole truth. They are fleeting. They change with sleep, with food, with a single conversation. You cannot let them write the script of your life. If you want to live a life rooted in purpose, you have to start speaking from your purpose, not just from your pain. It's not enough to think positive thoughts in your head. You have to hear your own voice declare them out loud. Your nervous system responds to that. Your subconscious listens. There is something deeply spiritual and psychological about speaking into the silence, about taking ownership of your language, especially when the world expects you to collapse. And don't just speak vague affirmations. Get specific. Call yourself into discipline, into strength, into forgiveness, into clarity. Say, "I am not giving up today." Say, "I may be tired, but I'm still moving." Say, "I am not a victim of my emotions. I'm the architect of my mindset." These aren't just words, they're weapons. Weapons you use to protect your focus, your future, and your soul. And the beauty is, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you become stronger. Your words train your thoughts train your actions, and eventually you become the kind of person who speaks power into dead places and watches life rise. So speak even when your voice shakes. Declare it even when your reality doesn't reflect it yet, because your words are not just commentary, they are prophecy. And when you consistently choose to speak life, you won't just change how you feel, you'll change what you build, what you attract, and what you become. You can't expect to stay positive if everything around you is pulling you into darkness. That's not weakness, that's reality. We are profoundly shaped by what we absorb, the people we talk to, the habits we entertain, the environment we place ourselves in day after day. Your surroundings either nourish your mindset or sabotage it. And if you're serious about becoming someone stronger, more focused, more grounded, you have to take full responsibility for the space you're allowing to shape your soul. Most people don't realize how much of their negativity is environmental. They think it's all internal, that it's just their own failure to be disciplined or grateful. But they're swimming upstream in a toxic river. They're trying to speak life into themselves while their environment constantly echoes fear, doubt, drama, and distraction. You can't plant a tree in poisoned soil and then blame the tree for not growing. And in the same way, you can't flourish in a space that's built to keep you small, scared, and silent. So take inventory. Who are the people you let into your mental, emotional space? Are they building you or draining you? Are they speaking possibility or constantly pulling everything into criticism and complaint? Sometimes loyalty keeps us in proximity to people we should have outgrown. You can love someone and still create space to protect your peace. You're not responsible for fixing everyone. You are responsible for guarding the vision that's been placed inside you. And if someone is constantly clouding that vision with their bitterness or chaos, you need to step back. Not with hate, with wisdom. And then there are your habits, the quiet routines that no one sees, but that shape who you become. What are you feeding your mind when you wake up? What's the first thing you reach for, your phone or your focus? What's the tone you set for yourself at the start of the day? Is it discipline or distraction? Too many people are trying to stay positive while binging content that makes them feel behind, unworthy, or angry. And they wonder why they're anxious, why they feel lost. Your input becomes your outlook. What you repeatedly expose yourself to becomes what you normalize. So ask yourself, are your habits helping you rise or pulling you down? And the environment itself, the space you inhabit physically, matters more than you think. The light, the noise, the clutter. If your space is chaos, your mind will mirror it. Clean your environment and you'll be shocked how much clarity follows. Make room for silence, for reflection, for order. These are not luxuries, they're necessities for a healthy soul. A messy room may not seem like a big deal, but when you live in disorder, you unconsciously reinforce the belief that nothing is under control. Order your environment and you remind yourself that you can take responsibility, that you can create peace, even in small things. And you know what else happens when you surround yourself with light? You begin to attract more of it. The right people will start appearing, not by magic, but by resonance. You'll draw in those who are serious about purpose, about peace, about progress. And those who thrive in drama or dysfunction, they'll feel out of place, not because you've judged them, but because you've shifted the frequency of your life. And those who are unwilling to rise won't feel comfortable staying. That's not loss, that's alignment. This isn't about perfection. It's not about cutting off everyone who disagrees with you or living in a sterile bubble. It's about protecting your inner atmosphere so that you can keep growing, keep rising, and keep becoming. You don't have to control the whole world, but you do have to control what you allow into your world. Because staying positive isn't just about mental toughness. It's about building a life that supports the version of you that you're trying to become. And when you consistently surround yourself with light through people who uplift you, habits that discipline you, and environments that inspire you, you don't have to force positivity every day. It starts to feel like home. And once positivity becomes your home, no darkness can make you forget who you are. Pain has a strange way of making everything else feel irrelevant. When it strikes, whether it's the loss of someone you love, the collapse of something you worked so hard to build, or the quiet ache of not being where you thought you'd be in life, it narrows your vision, it consumes your thoughts, blurs your perspective, and often blinds you to anything good that still remains. That's the danger. Because when pain takes center stage, gratitude seems like a foreign language. It feels out of place, almost offensive. But it's precisely then that gratitude becomes the most